Today we're going to talk about how to win 9 by 9 games. We're going to start with the basics, then some general strategy. Let's start with where to play in the opening. So, in reality, on a 9 by 9 board, there are actually only 15 possible moves, as you can see marked here. Everything else is a mirror of the original position. So if you look at this, move number 1 is the only unique position on a 9 by 9 board, and the rest are mirrored somewhere else. So 2 is mirrored at A, B, C right now, and then it radiates out thusly. Or A is the same move as 2, and B is the same move as 3 in the beginning. In reality, there are only kind of 6 viable moves or 6 good moves to play in the opening on 9 by 9 board, and really only 5 because the 3 point is not great for black anyway. Now, depending on if you have a 5.5 Komi or 6.5 Komi, 1 or 2 is the best move. I recommend just playing number 2 because it's the middle of the board. Oh, and note, 9 by 9 is the last board size where playing kind of in the middle like this is good, according to the AI analysis. 9 by 9 is a fighting game, which means that a fight will break out eventually. I think the latest move, somebody said that the last move that a 9 by 9 fight can start is move 6. If you're not fighting by move 6, something has gone seriously wrong, or someone's just going to lose because they're too passive. Here's a way to think of Go for the beginners. Go is a conversation. Each stone you place on the board says something. If we look at this 4/4 stone, it's saying, I'm going to have some effect on every side of the board here. Playing in these other area here is saying, if black plays here, he's saying, I'm going to have more of an effect on this area of the board, but I'm kind of poking over here and over here. This is territory versus influence. Influence is very tricky on a 9 by 9 board, but possible. Although, as with a 19 by 19 game, the 4/4 point is not actually territory yet, but for the 9 by 9 purpose of 9 by 9, I think you can say it is. Let's look at a little bit of what the other potential first moves of Go on a 9 by 9 board are saying. So this one, I wouldn't really recommend it, but it's one of the candidate moves for a good move on the board. It's better than the 3/3 at least. So it's a much more territorial move and kind of pointing outwards toward this, because any move on either side of this board would mean points for black. This number 3 move here is a much more much more influential. If white wants to, they could invade here and start getting some points on this side at the cost of influence for black. Basic invasion or territory versus influence control play. If you invade too close to a stone, you're giving your opponent influence, even if you can live. Like, I wouldn't recommend playing this way, but the trick with white's invasion like this is that white wants to almost just take the points as securely as possible, as quickly as possible, diminishing black's influence quickly. Could go something like this here, and then if black pokes here, just go elsewhere. Sure, you can have this stone, but I'm going to live in the corner here, and then I've already started the invasion on the other side. So I've thought of a few things to talk to, kind of few rules or proverbs, as they're not fancily written as most Go proverbs are, but I have a few here that kind of good to keep in mind. If you have 2 groups, the third will die for either player. So I was white in this game. I started kind of getting behind because of bad opening play, and black started taking advantage of it. Instead of protecting my first stone here first, I started to make a third group, which of course will always lead to trouble. I start trying to create Aji to try to win this game, and black ends up taking advantage. Now, because I've placed all my moves on this side of the board, this third group will die. Yeah, if I had started playing over here or something, trying to make this group live, which may or may not be possible, probably not. Black starts honing in here, pushing my group around to try to kill it. Stuff like that. Now this group lives in this situation, but with Sente, and black starts trying to kill this group. Okay, so let's actually review here where to play in the opening. There are, what did I say? Five moves. The opening. 5/5 is recommended. I recommend the 5/5. The difference is Komi. Like, can't spell, that's fine. A little tidbit: 9 by 9 is the last board size that playing in the middle is good. Um, right, back to the proverbs. If you get cut off prematurely, like you think you're playing pretty solid, and all of a sudden you get cut off, immediately decide which side you're going to save and which side you're going to let go, especially if you're a beginner. So it's okay to play these fast and loose moves, but you need to know what you're doing. Don't have more than two groups. Two groups. All right, proverb number 2. If black tries to take more than half the board, then white needs to quickly secure points, then invade. So actually, the example is here. White secures the points and then invades. So it doesn't worry about trying to reduce this side of the corner because it's a losing game anyway. Let's say something like this happens, and then black plays here. White has already kind of secured some points here. This is invadable, but to a degree that's okay for white. And then white starts to play here. So if white tries for more than half the board, white needs to secure points first, then invade. All right, moving on. Next one. Because of Comey, any even trade on the board is good for white. This is kind of the classic example here, 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 here. Kind of in an even matchup. It's not super realistic, but let's do it this way. There we go. See? This was an even split of the board, and because of Comey, white wins. So a mirror game is not good for black, and due to the size of the 9 by 9 board, actually not possible, not practically possible. This one is just kind of, it's hard to illustrate, but if a situation is bad, you cut loose immediately. Do not run stones in a 9 by 9 game. Even like in a classic kind of ladder situation, let's just artificially make it here. Even in this situation, with white having the ladder, it's still not good for, because of each stone, that each free move that black gets on the board, it's worth it for him to sacrifice or run out the ladder and get these free moves in as they are. And this is true, again, 99% of the time. Do not try to save one stone when you have other moves on the board. If you get cut, you have one stone there, and there's a corner left on the board, just play the corner. In the game that I played versus, this exactly in this position I showed earlier, white tried to save this one stone, which is safe actually, but there's a corner left. This is what, worth 2 points, and the corner maybe. So if black actually tries to kill it with some move, hey, I got this corner too then. So it's just something to keep in mind. Let's put that on the board. Don't try to save single stones. Do not run out stones. Don't run out stones. Especially can't spell. If there are corners left. One stone is not worth a corner. This is much more of the grander scheme of the game. Because of Comey, and the first move being worth so much, black generally is building, has one large group, while white has two groups, and with one of them being invasion. So black is the reducer and white is the invader. Black tries to build something. White takes points and then invades, and black tries to keep those areas, those points of the board, white's points of the board, as small as possible. I think something has gone seriously wrong in a 9 by 9 if black has to invade something, and it's probably just a resignable game. I hope the proverbs and strategies I talked about here can help you win your first 9 by 9 games. If you have any luck, let me know. And if you feel like anything I mentioned here just doesn't work, let me know as well, and I'll see what I can do to change that.